Hey everyone, and welcome to our final collab live session for 2023. So, we're your hosts. I'm Megan, the product marketing manager here at Video My Job.
And I'm Bowden, the customer success leader.
Yeah, and we run these live sessions twice every quarter. We speak to a different Video My Job user to give you insights into how they're successfully leveraging video in their talent to brand strategy. And today, I could not be more excited to have Remi from People2people as our guest. Welcome, Remi.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Yeah, really, really good. Before we start, I might just do some housekeeping. So, for those that have dialed in, there is a chat function. So, please feel free to post any questions you might have for Remi, and we'll monitor and answer those questions during the session. Um, Otherwise, yeah, look, Remi, thank you so much for joining us. I know that people to people have been using video as part of their strategy, and more specifically, Video My Job for I think it's around 7 years now. So I'm really, really looking forward to unpacking that journey with you today. So, look, without further ado, I'll jump straight in. Firstly, Remi, can you start by telling us a little bit about your team setup, what your role is like, and then the core mission of your team?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the marketing manager at people2people. So people2people is a recruitment company with about 130 people across Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. I'm the marketing manager for those teams. So I just support them for everything marketing. And I guess in the context of videos and video my job, what I really do, part of my role is really to promote the use of videos across the business, just because we know that videos really help our recruitment consultants extend their talent pools and promote their personal brand.
Wow.
So, what made you actually explore a video session in the first place, and what led to the implementation of Video My Job?
I think there's I would say two to three things. I think the first thing is if we kind of like wind back a little bit, 15 years ago, like for the last 15 years, there's been like the rise of social media, and I think with the rise of social media and companies really starting to post and to promote their employer brand, is but employer branding has become essential to remain competitive as an employer. And for this reason, videos became more and more important because while you can really highlight, through word and through job description, you can really highlight part of your business, etc. But at the end of the day, it's really just words. Whereas with videos, you can give a bit more of the vibe. You can showcase, instead of telling, you can show like who you are and what you are doing and how you're doing it. And I think people resonate way more with this, and it's just much more powerful than just words at the end of the day.
I love that. Show instead of tell. That's perfect. Remi, can you share specifically how you and your team are using the platform, and then some of the use cases that you're solving for as well?
Yeah, so I think the main and the first one that comes to my mind would be like videos on our job ads. So internally, obviously, we are a recruitment agency, so we are trying to fill jobs, and part of our success and trying to fill those jobs as quickly as possible. So we use videos, sorry, on job ads specifically because we know that videos help to boost application numbers by, I think it's about 30%. So I think that's the main reason why we always stick to having always a video on all our job ads. But we also do other things. So if you think about our expertise, we use videos to just showcase that we are experts in recruitment. So typically, I think one good example of this is one of our team leaders called Aiden Bose. I think for the last 3 or 4 years, every Friday he has been doing a video highlighting a recruitment tip. So now it's been like I think 150 or 200 videos easily on recruitment tips. And when I talked to him the other day, he definitely said that part of his success and part of the reason why his network has expanded so much was because he really put himself out there through his video my job and was able to, yeah, just showcase his best self and showcase his expertise through videos. Another thing we can do with videos, and that we do is, so people to people, we don't do just recruitment. We try to provide added value to our customers. And one of them, for instance, would be our market report. The other one would be in-person events. And all our recruiters for those specific initiatives will always do a video as a way to promote what we do, and just try to grab people's attention. So obviously, I think it's today on social media, we are kind of like bombarded by a lot of things, and videos
Mm.
are the best way to grab people's attention. So just making sure you do this for the key initiative for your company will really help to promote yourself as a recruiter, and promote your personal brand, but also promote your business as a whole. And then and then finally, I think the fourth one would be the story feed, which is like a special video manager feature, but something that we actually loved. So the story feed is a widget that you can put on some pages of your website, so typically your career pages. And through this widget, people will be able to explore multiple videos on different themes and topics, such as diversity, well-being, your company culture, etc., etc., as a way to help people who wants to or who are at least considering applying for one of your roles to figure out, okay, how is it to work for video manager, or how is it to work for people to people, how does it feel like, what are the people like there, what are they saying about well-being, what are they saying about diversity and inclusion at people to people. So that's a widget that we've had, and that's been, I think, very successful, and the number of views we've had on this widget has been, yeah, pretty great.
Wow. It sounds like you guys are really using it across various use cases. Like, I love that you guys are doing it for every single job ad. It really sounds like, your people are using the platform to also elevate their personal brand, which is, also coming back and talking about, the expertise of people to people as well, and then internal and external comms. But what I really wanted to touch on is your story feed, Remi.
Yeah.
What was the problem you were trying to solve when you tapped into that initiative?
I think there were a couple of problems we had. So first, I think video my jobs is great, but I guess, at the end of the day, with video my jobs, it can really depend on who is doing it, and some people are just a bit more talented at doing videos and figuring out what's a good background, what's a good angle for the video, what's etc. So there was this part which is just kind of like just trying to make sure it was going to look good if it was going to sit on our website for a very long time. And then on the other side, what one thing that I wanted is just, I think with sometimes with videos, people tend to, some people get very self-conscious when on videos, so they really want to prepare. And I think the problem sometimes when you prepare is you look very prepared and you don't come across as authentic or genuine or just natural overall. So for us, we wanted to try to find a way to make sure they just looked like we just asked them a question and they had to answer it, which is kind of like where we came up with this idea of so every year, one day in the year, we pick one office, and then we get all the team in this office to answer a set of questions. We don't provide those questions like prior to the filming, just because we want to make sure they have to think on the spot. And usually, it's been just very successful. And I think it's also been some of the feedback we've had overall from customers has been that you just see that it's something that's genuine. It's not people like repeating something they've prepared 2 or 3 days before. It's actually something that they say on the spot. So I think the authenticity is really important. So yeah, I think that's something we've also solved through this
Hmm.
process.
Okay, so really collecting all of those authentic videos, having it in that one place. And
Yeah,
I guess as part of the authenticity, you're really able to show the culture and diversity across your business as well. Yeah.
yeah, I think that there's also, I think the one thing is because they also know that they won't be the only person interviewed, there's just less pressure to
Mm,
perform. I think
yeah.
with videos, sometimes there's a bit of oh, like I have to do one video today, so I have to be good. I think
Mm,
when you tell them, actually, we'll be filming 10 or 15 people. So the reality is you might have a great answer to one question. and to another question, you might just be a bit less inspired. That's actually fine. We don't need you to be great at every question. We just want to be, like, basically take the best parts of everyone to showcase at the very end when we get those like 5 to 10 videos.
Mm. Amazing.
Are you, Remy, on those filming days? Just
Yeah.
the mechanics of it. Are you giving people cards to answer questions from, and are you having to do any forms of bribery, like food, coffee? What are the?
No, actually, this is more of a dictatorship. It's a marketing dictatorship, so they just have to come. No, overall, I think most people understand, and so we don't do bribery with cookies, etc. Overall, we just get everyone to do it. Obviously, like some people know that. I think some people we can see it on the day they are way more stressed out than some others. So I think it's just also just reading the room. If you figure out that Megan is just panicking like while filming those videos, there is no point just asking another 15 questions to Megan. Like clearly she's not, like, it's not her day. So let's just move on. So I think, yeah, so but apart from this, it's really just one day. I think people understand, and I think people actually quite like, even though it's quite a stressful process, I think people are quite happy when they look good on screen, and they look like they are smart on screen, saying quite nice things, promoting the company. That's something that people enjoy. It's just a process that's sometimes a bit, I guess, a bit trickier.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the outcome of the great content that you produce for your story feed, when I'm having conversations like this with a lot of customers, we often arrive at that question of, or the answer of, what does story feed actually do? And there's been a narrative that has been developing with a few customers that it's about moving candidates from being curious to being
Mm.
convinced. Does that resonate with you, or would you phrase it any differently?
Yeah, no, I think obviously as a recruitment agency, it's a bit different for us. But I think if I was an employer, just not a recruitment agency, I do think that it can really help because, as I said before, um, between reading on a website that uh, this employer is promoting well-being at work and diversity and inclusion, and but between this and actually seeing it in front of you and seeing people from very different backgrounds or very different walks of life, like talking on the screen about how it feels to work for people to people or how it feels to work for video manager. I think it's just much more powerful, and it just
Mm.
feels more real. I think that in the past, I mean, I don't think it's been true for everyone, but I think uh, sometimes we've, like, the job description don't necessarily match the reality of what you see at work, because at the end of the day every employer would say they have a great company culture. It doesn't mean that's actually true. So I think those videos really help you figure out on your own if you are a good match for this company culture, or if it's just something that's not really aligned with your values.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And so, are there any other wins or outcomes that you're getting from incorporating video into your strategy, Remy?
So as I said, I think the key thing, like at the end of the day, the key use case for us has been videos on job ads. I think that's the main way we use it, and that's the
Mm.
most popular amongst teams, because it really boosts the application numbers by, I think it's about 30%. Um, I think on the other side, we've had like we every year we get like quite a few consultants who would post a video on social media, and because of this video, this video gets shown to their network, and people in their network pick it up, find it very professional, or like very much like the video, and then
Mm.
contact them back to ask them, hey, actually, could you help me out? Hey, actually, I'm quite interested in this job. Can you, like, is it still available? So I think it really helps you to differentiate yourself from your competition. Like, there's not that many people doing videos, especially for every job that you are working on. So I think first it really helps you differentiate yourself, and I think also it helps you get some extra market shares. Because at the end of the day, we use it for job ads, but I think you could use it for very much everything. If I was, let's say, Nike. So if I was selling shoes online, you could easily do a video, like a video review of the new pair of shoes that you are selling and explaining why it's so, like why they are so good and why you really love them. And I think that's something I haven't seen at all on LinkedIn. So that's something that would be more likely to just grab my attention and possibly get me to have a look at their website and buy some Nike shoes. So
Yeah, that's a really important point about
Yeah.
being a differentiator. If you want to actually be different, you have to be different, and the easiest way to be different is to do the thing that most people won't do: video.
yeah, and I think another thing is, and it's more of a, obviously, like what I've tried to talk about before is, well, at least for the number of applications, like the number of applications is very tangible. I think that part of like the video, like part of the return on investment from video my job is really quite intangible, and it's really helping you to build your social media presence.
Mm,
So as I said, with the rise of social media, now companies and marketers have to be active on social media, and one of the best ways to get engagement is really through videos. And video my job has made our life just much easier, because through video my job, what you can do is you can set up your branding and then give the power to your people. So for marketers, it's really saving your time.
mm,
It saves your time, so you don't have to always add the branding yourself, etc., etc. No, you just all the branding is done, and once it's all done, it's on to your people to do their part, and they don't have to come back to marketing every time to ask if that's okay. So I think that's really helped us to like boost our social media presence and really
Mm.
promote our people's personal brands.
Wow.
brilliant.
I love that. Um, Remy, so a lot of our customers, obviously, or the question that Bowden particularly gets asked is, how do I get my people in front of the camera? And people have been using Video My Job for, as I said, coming up 7 years now, or just a little bit over. So, what adoption? Can you talk us through some of the adoption challenges that you faced during your time with People to People, and how you kind of overcame that? Yeah, to get your people to use Video My Job to create the videos.
So I think overall, I'd say the main challenge has always been for us. Some people just don't like videos, or some people are just very scared of doing videos, and not necessarily when it comes to like personal videos on your Instagram or your TikTok. That's entirely fine. But as soon as you tell them you're going to do a video for work, suddenly there's just more pressure to make sure it looks professional and make sure it looks good. So I think for us, we had to kind of like just make them understand that at the end of the day, it's just a video. Like you're not putting your career on the line by doing this video and by making mistakes during a video. So I think it's just kind of like just making sure they understand it's at the end of the day, it's just a video. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. To go back to the authenticity side, I do think that sometimes actually having a video where you stutter a little bit or where you have to repeat yourself because you've said something that's not grammatically correct, I actually think that's it makes you look like you're not a robot, and you're actually
Mm,
just on the spot doing a video for your audience, pretty much. Um, so yes, I think that's been the trickiest part, really, just trying to help people understand that videos are not very hard and videos are not very time consuming. Um, and yeah, I think for us, the solution uh, overall, I think the main driver. There's obviously a few things we can talk about when it comes to like how to try to like how to make it easier for people to adopt those like adopt making those videos more often. But I think the main thing for us has been, if leaders don't walk the walk and talk the talk, it's just not gonna work. Pretty much, I found that we found that in offices where the leader is very promoting videos and doing videos themselves, then the adoption rate is much higher than in offices where the manager or the team leaders are not doing it.
mm,
And I think it goes back to this kind of like video. Well, it's very much, if you don't like video and no one is promoting it, why would you do it? So it's really just on the managers and the team to just make sure they promote videos enough, so people feel like, first, it's not that hard, it's not that terrible to do one video, but also it's just part of your job and you just have to do it anyway. So yeah.
Mm. So I guess yeah, the key ones there is like get the buy-in from your leaders to really let that trickle down, and then I love what you said. You know, it's kind of there's magic in that imperfection, right? Like it's stutter and just be yourself, because those are the videos that people will resonate with because because it's authentic. So yeah, I love that, Remy. That's really great advice.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting. Like more of an anecdote, but what I've seen quite a few companies, especially on Facebook. So Facebook, LinkedIn is quite a professional social media. So I think
Mm,
people expect what they see on LinkedIn to be pretty branded. But on Facebook, for instance, first I've seen that more and more companies are removing any kind of branding. But on top of this, I think some companies are taking pictures that don't, they just look a bit, they just don't look very like that great. And I think the reason is like they look like they've been just taken by a normal person, not by marketing, polishing it and making it look perfect. And I think having this kind of like authenticity, or like just having this thing that this video that doesn't look perfect, but it looks like it's been done by someone who is not trying to be overly salesy, I think will just be more successful today than
mm,
anything that looks a bit too branded, or promotional.
This is the thing in terms of social media. It's all about social proof and what
mm.
people will believe versus what they won't believe, right?
Mm. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, I do think that people more and more try to. I think we've just developed filters. That's the reality of it. Is when I look at my Facebook, not that go on Facebook that much anymore, but when I look at my Facebook right now and I scroll, as soon as I see something that looks quite branded or quite like, or the picture looks like a stock picture or something, scroll. So
Mm.
it's when a picture is like, oh, it's not perfect. It looks like it's been taken by an individual. Then you're like, oh, you look at it and you're like, oh, that's people to people. Oh, okay. So it's actually something, it's actually a company, but it looks like real people. It doesn't look like the
Yeah.
perfect people that you can find on those stock pictures.
It's like that happy medium between, like a real professional agency type video and very poor quality. So it's like that sort of like
Yeah.
happy medium in between. Yeah, yeah. No, totally.
But I think to go back to, I guess, how to, um, how to increase the adoption rate,
Mm,
regarding video my job in your office or in your company. I think one other thing that's been very successful for us is, as I said, some people are just very, they don't know what's a good what a good background looks like. They don't want to think too much, because if you think too much it's just very complicated, and that's just, they don't have the time to take, like we can only make as many decisions as we can every day. So I think they want something to be very simple. So for us, it's really been on trying to simplify the process as much as possible. So one of the things we've done is we've tried so we've redesigned all our offices between 2021 and 2022. And one thing we've done is, when redesigning them, we try to find like spots in the office where it would be very easy to take videos. So that way they know that if they want to take a video, they don't have to look around and just wonder, oh, where am I supposed to take this video? What's a good background? They already know, oh, so there's a couple of spots. Oh, this one is free. Let's just go and do it there. So I think it's just
mm.
like trying to figure out what could be the obstacles that people will be facing when trying to film videos, and trying to remove as many as you can.
I love that, and I love that you guys have, dedicated spaces. And I can't imagine it would need to be big spaces. It would just sort of be a little spot so that they can just have a good background. And yeah, what a great idea! I love that you guys do that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I think it's just, yeah. It doesn't need to be very big,
Mm,
and yeah, it's just. I think it just makes things easier. We also have like the typical like tripod with lights, just to make it easy for them if they want to. If those two spots are taken, then they can go anywhere and do their video on their own. But I think having dedicated spots um, yeah, just remove one of the difficulties they can find in making videos.
mm,
Yeah, that's a great call because it makes me a little bit sad to think about how many great videos never got made because someone was hunting around for a place to do it. So you've solved that
Yeah,
problem.
100%. I think, I think it just it definitely makes a difference. Also, as I said, some people, not everyone is great at figuring out what's a good video background. So I think by having this, those like two spots in your office, like one or two spots in your office available, I think from a marketing perspective, the marketing team will know that there is always it's always going to look good because I think for marketing typically we have a new partner in South Australia, Edge Recruitment, and they might start using Video My Job, and the first question from their marketer was like, how can I make sure that it actually looks good? Because
Mm,
I know some of those people. I know some people in my office, and not all of them would would know what you use as a background. So how
yeah.
can I make sure of this? So having those spots, I think, from marketing perspective, also ensure that it doesn't look well. It does look okay every time.
Yep. Yeah, and for those people that work from home as well, now that we've got the ability to do desktop recording on Video My Job, typically work from home people, you have your background set up for all of your
Mm,
video conferencing
Mm,
anyway. So now that you've got desktop recording, it's the same. You just press record.
yeah,
Simple.
100%. I think that's actually one thing that was I think that took a bit of time for our people because I think at first they were quite self-conscious of showing that they were working from home because it was I mean in 2020 or 2021 it was still quite new or not something that was widely adopted or we just didn't know if it was going to stay the norm or go back to everyone working from the office pretty much 5 days a week. So I think, but now I think people are more comfortable with well, first showing that they're actually working from home, but also I think more and more people have their little like office spot in their house or in their apartment,
Mm.
and it's just a matter of like trying to put a couple of plants in the background, a couple of like frames like we have here, and it will look all right.
absolutely.
So, lastly, Remi, I think we've covered a lot on adoption, but
Mm.
is there anything that you would kind of leave off on this subject as a final note, for anyone who still might be struggling with adoption or getting people on camera?
Um, Let me think.
Or any advice at all, really. Any advice that you've kind of picked up during your journey with video and adding that, getting that in your strategy. Anything from any of the use cases that you've sort of covered off today that you thought might be useful for any guest styling in today?
I think there's a okay. I think there's a couple of things. I think first, you always have some video detractors, so like people who just don't like videos and don't want to do videos. I think for those people, especially if they're hiring managers and you really want to have a video on every job ad, typically, I think for those ones, if you can manage to convince them to just do one that's quite generic that they can use for pretty much every role they will be advertising under their name, it's actually quite good because um, that way you don't have to force them to do it every time, but at least you know you have these kind of like generic. It will be more generic, obviously. It won't be talking specifically about the role they are working on, but I think it will still be good enough to showcase the idea of like who they are as a manager, or who they are as a hiring manager, and who they are as a company. And I do think when we talked about story feed, I talked about like doing a one day project where you do a bunch of videos for your website. I do think that was actually very successful for us, just because um, when you want those higher quality video and just a bit of a higher quality content, it's just I think it's made a big difference for us to just ensure that we have those videos that we can use, and that you like typically for those video detractors, if they don't want to do videos themselves, then you can possibly just use some of those videos that are describing the company that you do on that one day. So I think that's been very good to produce the content that marketing need, and then the rest people can do it on their own using Video My Job throughout the year.
Mm.
Brilliant.
So great, so great. Look, Remy, that's pretty much coming to the end of everything. Because I don't think that got any questions come through, but we have got a couple ones come through saying thank you for the great insights. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for helping us end off our collab here. And thank you so much for sharing your journey and insights today. We really do appreciate it. And then for those that have dialed in today, be sure to check your inbox next week, because we will be sending you guys the full session of this. You will be able to get it on LinkedIn, but we will email you our full live session of today's live chat with Remi. So thank you so much for dialing in, guys.
Thanks, Remi.
Thank you, guys.